Andreas, thank you once again for speaking to Digit. It's a pleasure, meeting you after the pandemic. What has your impression been of India and the acceptance to pro audio since the pandemic?
Yeah, also, it's a great pleasure to meet you again and speak to you about the beauty of audio. Since the pandemic, we've seen a lot of change when it comes to adopting new technology and also new ways of working, particularly the hybrid working and also producing content for hybrid consumption. That has advanced greatly. So TV studios that were during the pandemic empty, so no one listening there, or at least no one in the studio, that was a catalyst for a lot of new formats that we see right now in the corporate, in the higher education world, but also in the broadcast world. Particularly when it comes to higher education, we see most universities really ramping up their technology when it comes to audio streaming, so that students can participate from home or in the classroom. Most corporations have fully embraced the idea of hybrid working or even work from home, and also the broadcast brought us some new great hybrid formats.
Any comment on, since the Sonova news is now fairly old, the direction that Sennheiser Pro Audio is moving towards in India and also in the APAC region?
Our focus in now that we're only the pro world is really to make sure that we're even closer to our end users and understand even more their workflows and bring out products that just makes it easier for them, because we're using more and more complex technology, but yet we want to make sure that the customer sees less and less of it. So we are taking a very strong effort in making seamless integration of user interfaces, that our products like the ceiling microphones integrate very well with just the normal standards as Dante, AES67 and others. So we're very much focused on the user experience, and in order to do that, we have to research and develop the technology and at the same time understand what really the workflow of the user is. And that's now that we put all our management attention, all our R&D efforts and all our resources into the pro-only field, so Biscom, Pro Audio and Neumann, we see strong growth in all of those areas. So that's been the right decision, also in hindsight.
Any particular insight into the behind the scenes testing and development process for incredible audio products that you guys are known for? Could you give us a hint of what that process is like and India's role in it?
Yeah. India has a very strong role when it comes to identifying new ways of working. That was very eminent already when I was here in 2014, 16, 17, that a lot of ENG crews had produced by then already on mobile devices and not used OB vans, which cost millions for transmission. So the absence of a great infrastructure led to very innovative solutions. And that's why for me, still today, when it comes to adopting new technology, India is really on the forefront. It's almost like a test bed of new technologies and new work formats in the pro audio field. And in order to do that, of course, we have our development processes that are focusing on what is there for the world and not just for India. But sometimes we really have this, we have an area that's called future technologies, which spins out innovative solutions which can be tested in India particularly, and then maybe be brought back to the rest of the portfolio.
Any hints on what those products are, what those technologies are?
Well, one product that is, or one technology that is coming out during the course later next year is our new system that bases, our new wireless system, multi-channel system that based on wideband technology. So we will, for the first time, not have single carrier transmission, but really wideband transmission in time division, multiplexing, using different frequencies, using different time slots, which makes it extremely robust and extremely simple to operate. So with that product, you would have the simplicity of switching on a cell phone combined with the perfection of audio from Sennheiser.
And Andreas, do you agree with this stereotypical view of the Indian consumer or just the Indian market in general? It's a very price-sensitive, cost-centric market. Is that true anymore?
It is developing into a direction where value for money is still appreciated, but the value is much more put into how well it actually serves the purpose of the application. So it's not about the lowest price anymore, but it's really about the highest value for what you're getting. So a good example is our ceiling microphone solutions and also the classroom, the handheld solutions, SpeechLine, digital. They're being appreciated very much because they just work. And if you have a university with 200, 300, 400 classrooms, you don't want to save 10% on the product and then have a myriad of technicians that run around to fix it, but you'd rather spend a little bit more on the product and then operate it from a central location. And this is now really being appreciated also by the Indian market. So it's about the value of the solution and not necessarily the lowest possible price.
Any comment on how Sennheiser operates in India from a business perspective? How is it different or similar to other markets?
It is very similar to other markets, with the exception that, of course, it needs to cover quite a fragmented market in some areas, particularly in the rental business. It's highly fragmented still. Therefore, we have just more feet on the ground here than we would have in other countries. So we have more than 50 people in India working for us with very high technical skills, particularly because that's what's the value that we can provide. So every salesperson that is not just somebody who can close deals, but actually somebody who can help the customer select the right product, be technically skilled enough to even fix problems. So that's why our approach to India may be a little bit wider in terms of staff base and a little bit even deeper when it comes to technology, just because we have to cover such a large market that is still quite fragmented.
Any comment on the advent of AI and how it's impacting the audio space?
Yeah, AI is an exciting thing because it allows us to make our microphones particularly smarter. So we will come out with microphones that know what they're listening to and can be selective what they want to listen to. Is it speech? Is it background noise? Is it feedback? So that's how we can make our products not just an input device that hands the audio to another system, but actually an input device that is much smarter than it was before. And then there's, of course, on the processing side, we're using AI now in test labs in order to make different audio signals sound very much the same, uniform. That's very important when you have conferences and somebody sitting in a room with a lot of reverb, another one sitting in a studio-like room. And if you have these different audio feelings, it's very stressful for the brain. So it helps to reduce fatigue if we can normalize these different audio streams and just make it more nice to listen to.
Where do you see the future of entertainment and audio entertainment specifically going? Now that the world is back, events are happening, but do you see anything emerging on the consumption side?
We see more and more people enjoying live concerts again. So of course, there's I think it's a human need of us all to enjoy music together, because that has a uniting element for everyone. So that's definitely one of the high growth vectors right now. The other thing that we see coming more and more is that these events are no longer just happening in one place, but actually are being teleported to other locations. And the term metaverse may be overused, but what I like to use it for is that actually we can teleport an experience that happens in Madison Square Garden, for instance. Using AI and XR technology combined, we can actually teleport that into someone's living room or someone's VR goggles. So I guess this part will become more and more interesting also for artists, because they reach suddenly not just the 50,000 people in the venue, but they can reach hundreds of millions of people around the world with almost the same experience.
Any challenges and opportunities from an Indian market and just like pro audio, being in pro audio, because it's something that you have to experience for people to finally get what pro audio is, right? So
yeah, you mentioned one of the challenges, that you only appreciate great audio once you've tasted it. It's like a great bottle of wine that you can look at the bottle forever, but you won't know how good it is until you open it. And that's the same with audio. So getting the experience is extremely important. Educating not just the industry, but educating end users about what's the difference between okay audio and great audio, particularly when it comes to immersive formats like our two-channel spatial audio that has been used by Netflix now for quite a while, and also other higher order formats like the Ambio format. That is something that if you experienced it, you wouldn't go back. Or like you mentioned the HE1, if you experience something that is just beyond the imaginable, it's very difficult to go back. So that's one challenge, but it's a good challenge, because every time we have somebody that had the experience, they're sold on it mostly. The more difficult challenge is, more that like the technology side, the frequency reduction. More and more frequencies are being sold off or just co-assigned to telecom companies. So that on the one hand keeps us on our toes to keep developing new technologies for our customers. On the other hand, it's also every time it's a challenge to make sure that our customers are safe in their investment and don't have to buy new gear every 3 to 4 years just because frequencies were sold off.
What's your personal audio setup like, Andreas? Tell us.
Well, I have my listening setup. That's a pair of Neumann KH420s with 2 subwoofers. That's for the main living room. And then I have my, I call it production setup. That's for my Teams meetings and podcast. And that's a 2 speakers Neumann KH150, TLM 104 as a microphone, and the new interface from Neumann, the MT48, which works perfect in such an environment.
All the love for Neumann.
Yeah, to be honest, for the home, I really love particularly because it's studio type equipment. I really love the Neumann products. Of course, when it comes to using our gear, my favorite microphone on stage definitely would be our D6000. Although my singing is more, it's more for the family, it's more passion than talent, and therefore I don't publicly showcase that.
And final question, Andreas. Anyone who's watching this, if you had to give them one buying advice about buying pro audio, what would that be?
I would try out different things and really start small and then move your way up to the point where you don't hear or feel a difference anymore. Because I think it's very important that people get the right gear for their solution. It doesn't make sense to buy a Bentley to drive a mile every day. So I think it's important that everyone exposes themselves to different products with different price points, and then really selects the right one. And we have a lot of tutorial videos, for instance. We have hundreds of tutorial videos on our Sennheiser Sound Academy, which help people not just to select the right products, but also to operate it in the right way. Because if you want to mic an instrument, you have to know how to mic it properly. Otherwise, the best gear doesn't doesn't work right. So I think it's a combination of selecting the right product by just trying out different and getting education on how to use it in the right way. And there we can help with a lot of tutorial videos.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you for speaking for Digit.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
talking to you.
My pleasure.